The Galactic Military Academy's lecture hall was packed with cadets from 40 different species. Today's guest speaker was General Vexthor of the Krillian Empire, a species that had conquered 17 star systems through sheer military might. And sitting in the front row, noticeably smaller than most attendees, was Cadet Sarah Mitchell, the first human accepted into the Academy. Pain. General Vexthor began, his armored carapace gleaming under the lights, his weakness leaving the body. My species evolved to suppress pain response. We can fight with severed limbs, continue combat with internal injuries. Pain is merely data, irrelevant data. He looked directly at Sarah. Some species, however, are crippled by pain, unable to function when injured. This is why they will never be true warriors. The other cadets shifted uncomfortably. Everyone knew he was talking about humans. Sarah raised her hand. Yes, Cadet Mitchell. Permission to speak, sir? Granted. Sarah stood. You're right that humans feel pain intensely, but you're wrong about what that means. The lecture hall went silent. Explain, Vexthor said, his four eyes narrowing. You said pain is just data. For you, maybe. But for humans, pain is information. It tells us exactly what's wrong, how badly we're hurt, and what we can still do. Sarah walked toward the center of the room. Your species doesn't feel pain, so you don't know when to stop. Humans do, and we fight anyway. That makes you weak, does it? Sarah pulled up her sleeve, showing a long scar across her forearm. Training accident last year. Broke both bones. Radius and ulna, I felt every second of it. The snap, the grinding. The white-hot agony when the medic set the bones. Some cadets looked away. I felt all of that pain. Sarah continued, and you know what I did? I finished the exercise. Completed the mission objective with a broken arm because the mission came first. Not because I couldn't feel the pain, because I could feel it and chose to act anyway. Vexthor's mandibles clicked. One incident. Human history is full of incidents. Sarah pulled up a holographic display. Marathon. A human soldier ran 42 kilometers to deliver a message, then died from exhaustion. He felt every step, every torn muscle, every failing heartbeat, and he ran anyway. Another image. Who Glass. Attacked by a bear. Mauled nearly to death. Crawled 320 kilometers over 6 weeks to reach safety. Felt every inch, every infection, every moment of agony. Survived anyway. Another. Roy Benavides. Human soldier in the Vietnam War. Shot 4 times. Bayoneted. Shrapnel wounds. Kept fighting for 6 hours to save his squad. Felt every injury. Kept going anyway. Survived and lived another 44 years. The cadets were transfixed. You see, general, humans don't fight despite the pain. We fight because of it. Pain tells us we're still alive. Still in the fight. Still dangerous. Vexthor was unmoved. Anecdotes. Exceptional cases. Are they? Sarah's voice grew harder. Let me tell you about normal humans. Average humans. Humans who aren't soldiers or heroes. She changed the display. Childbirth. Human females endure pain levels that would incapacitate most species. Pain so severe that before modern medicine, women would bite through leather straps. And you know what? They do it anyway. Millions of times a day across human worlds. They feel that pain, survive it, and many choose to do it again. A female cadet from a species with painless reproduction looked genuinely shocked. Athletes? Sarah continued. Humans who run until their muscles tear. Lift until their bones fracture. Train until they vomit from exhaustion. They feel all of it. That's the point. They're testing their limits by experiencing their breaking points. That's insanity, someone muttered. Maybe. Sarah agreed. But it's effective insanity. We learn our limits by breaking them. We understand our bodies because we feel what happens when we push too far. Your species can't feel when they're damaged, so they don't know when they're about to fail catastrophically. Vexthor's armor plates shifted. We have sensors. Sensors can malfunction, be damaged, be hacked. Sarah walked closer. But pain. Pain is the one warning system that can't be turned off, can't be fooled, can't be bypassed. It's hardwired into human neurology. And we've learned to use it. She pulled up medical data. Humans have developed pain management techniques that let us function through injuries that would kill other species. Not because we don't feel it, but because we've spent millennia learning to work with pain instead of against it. Field medics who perform surgery while wounded. Firefighters who enter burning buildings knowing the heat will be agonizing. Rescue workers who dig through rubble with bleeding hands. All of them feel everything. All of them act anyway. A crystalline cadet raised an appendage. But why, if it hurts, why continue? Sarah smiled. Because something matters more than the pain. That's what makes humans dangerous. We can calculate the cost, the actual physical, agonizing cost, and decide it's worth paying. She turned back to Vexthor. Your species charges into battle without feeling wounds. Very effective. Very intimidating. But you know what's more terrifying than a soldier who can't feel pain? What? A soldier who feels every bullet, every blade, every broken bone, and keeps coming anyway. Because that soldier has looked at pain, measured it, understood it, and decided it doesn't matter. The room was absolutely silent. "There's a human saying," Sarah said quietly. "Pain is temporary. Quitting lasts forever. We feel pain intensely, completely unavoidably. And we've built an entire civilization on the principle of enduring it anyway." She pulled up more images. Cancer patients who endure chemotherapy. Burn victims who survive months of agonizing recovery. Paralyzed people who spend years relearning how to walk. Every single one of them feels everything. Every treatment. Every therapy session. Every small improvement purchased with tremendous pain. And they do it anyway, Sarah continued. Not because they're superhuman. Not because they can't feel it. But because humans have this absolutely insane ability to look at suffering and say, "Eyes." But what's on the other side of it? Vexthor was quiet now. "Do you know what human soldiers learn in training?" Sarah asked. "We learn to embrace the pain. We run until our lungs burn and call it progress. We train until our muscles scream and call it improvement. We push until we break and call it finding our limits." She met Vexthor's eyes. "You think pain makes us weak, but pain is our teacher, our motivator, our reminder that we're still alive and still fighting. Every human warrior knows something your species never learned." "What's that?" "That courage isn't the absence of fear or pain. It's acting despite them. Your soldiers don't feel pain, so their bravery is." "What? Ignorance? Lack of information? They don't know they should be afraid?" Sarah's voice grew intense. "But a human soldier feels the bullet tear through flesh, feels bones break, feels blood loss and shock and trauma, feels all of it. Knows exactly how badly they're hurt, and fights anyway. That's not ignorance. That's choice. That's will. That's the kind of warrior who makes civilizations think twice before starting wars." She returned to her seat. "So yes, General, humans feel pain. Intensely. Completely. Unavoidably. And we've turned that weakness into one of our greatest strengths. Because we know the cost of combat. We count it in every scream, every wound, every scar. And we pay it anyway when something matters enough." The lecture hall remained silent for a long moment. Then Vexithor did something unexpected. He bowed, a gesture of respect in Krillian culture. "I may have misjudged your species, Cadet Mitchell." "Most people do, sir. Your argument is compelling. But I must ask, if pain is so informative, so useful, why do humans work so hard to eliminate it? Pain medication, anesthesia, medical technology designed to reduce suffering." Sarah's smile was sad. "Because, General, just because we can endure pain doesn't mean we should have to. Just because we're good at suffering doesn't mean we should seek it out. Humans fight through pain when necessary, but we also develop the most advanced pain management in the galaxy because we understand that unnecessary suffering serves no purpose. We're not masochists. We don't worship pain. We just refuse to let it stop us when something more important is at stake." She stood again. "That's the difference between your species and mine. You don't feel pain, so you don't understand its weight. Humans feel everything, and we still choose to act. That choice made in full knowledge of the cost is what makes human warriors truly formidable." Vexthor nodded slowly. "I believe I understand now. Your species doesn't fight well despite feeling pain. You fight well because you feel it and do so anyway." "Exactly, sir. That is a terrifying level of determination." "Yes, sir. It is." After the lecture, several cadets approached Sarah. A Vexorian medical student asked, "Is it true that some humans actually seek out pain? For training purposes?" "Yeah. We call them ultra-marathon runners, CrossFit athletes, and Navy SEALs. They do things that hurt specifically to prove they can endure it. That's insane. Probably. But when those people show up on a battlefield, the enemy learns really quickly what it means to fight someone who's already been through hell by choice." A Threxian warrior cadet spoke up. "Your scar, the broken arm. You said you finished the mission anyway." "But how?" Sarah looked at her arm. "I felt the pain. Acknowledged it, decided the mission mattered more. Then I compartmentalized, put the pain in a mental box labeled 'deal with this later,' and kept moving. It's a skill. Humans learn it. You can choose to ignore pain. Not ignore. Acknowledge and act despite it. The pain is still there, still real, still hurting. But we can decide it doesn't control our actions. For a while anyway, the Threxian's expression was something like awe. That night, General Vexthor filed a report with the Galactic Military Council. Previous assessment of human military capability was incomplete. Human capacity for pain creates unexpected strategic advantage. Recommend upgrading human threat assessment. Any species that can experience full combat damage feedback and continue fighting represents unprecedented psychological warfare potential. Soldiers who know exactly how badly they're hurt and fight anyway are more psychologically devastating to enemies than soldiers who simply cannot feel injury. Update all combat doctrine accordingly. Sarah never saw the report, but 6 months later, when a coalition force encountered hostile forces in the Outer Rim, the mission commander specifically requested human units. When asked why, he said simply, "Because when things hurt, when casualties mount, when the mission goes to hell, humans don't quit. They feel everything. They know the cost. And they pay it anyway." That's the kind of soldier you want when victory matters more than comfort. And across human space, billions of people went about their daily lives, feeling every ache, every pain, every small discomfort, and kept going anyway, because that's what humans do. They feel everything, and they persist.